Hello and welcome to the JB&M Sports Fanatic channel. Thank you for joining me for this video. And the Buffalo Bills have signed receiver Lance Lenoir and his cut receiver Trey Walker. So essentially swapping wide receivers basically on that depth chart. So when you think the Buffalo Bills, if there's been a theme really this offseason for the Bills in terms of improving, obviously they've spent a majority of their focus in the draft early on at getting more, defensive ends, more edge rushers. But with that being said, outside of that, they've emphasized on adding a lot of depth to certain positions. And so they're certainly doing this with this offseason. Now, they did lose John Brown via free agency. But with that being said, John Brown was hurt a good amount of the season for the Bills last year. And so what Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs had was pretty magical in terms of the connection that those two had. I mean, it was just fun to watch to see those two on the same page like that. It was almost like being in a zone like for multiple games. But with that being said, though, yeah, so Lenoir, he arrives to Buffalo after spending part of the 2020 season with the Seattle Seahawks practice squad. Obviously, we all know that last year was not a traditional year with the effects of COVID. So, yeah, that definitely impacted a lot of players. But he's entering into his fifth NFL season. Technically, he's played in 8 career games, and Lenoir has spent 3 seasons with the Cowboys. He signed with the Cowboys as an undrafted free agent coming out of Western Illinois back in 2017. He's 26 years old. He doesn't have any targets currently on his NFL career, but he does have 1 tackle and 8 career offensive snaps and 111 on special teams. So that just gives a little background there towards his NFL career. Now to dive a little deeper, we'll have to look at his college days. And so we'll start with his time at Western Illinois. And so first of all, he was born in 1995 in Chicago, and he was basically, they're saying that he was a scoring touchdown machine basically in the state championship game for his high school. And his dad was a major influence in his life. He was very athletic himself, and he really pushed Lenoir to really dive deep and to continue to better himself. And so, yeah, as an incoming freshman, he was fast. As an incoming freshman, they were fascinated by his athleticism, and they set the bar high. His father set the bar high for him actually, and so he enjoys things such as video games, listening to music, hanging with friends. His favorite professional teams are the 49ers, Marlins, and Bulls, and his favorite music is Big Sean. And so, yeah, that's just a little bit about him there. And in terms of his major, he was a law enforcement justice administration major. So pretty interesting there. And so now back to on the football field as a freshman. He was one of only 2 true freshmen on the team that got to play, and he started in all 12 games. So that speaks volumes to be one of 2 freshmen to not only play, but to start every single game that they played that year. That just goes to show that this man already came in with a ton of talent. He became the first Western Illinois freshman, to lead the team in season receiving yards, finishing with 489, and second on the team in receptions with 39. So that means he was really taking advantage of those yards after catch. And he had a team leading 7 touchdown catches, most ever by a freshman for Western Illinois. It was the second highest total nationally by a freshman, tied for ninth on the Western Illinois University season top 10 list. So, yeah, definitely tremendous freshman year right off the gate. Then, as a sophomore, he made the first team All MVFC and became one of 5 Western Illinois players to record 1,000 receiving yards in a season, and the only non-senior to reach that milestone. So there again, that shows all the potential. Having seen obviously the influence his dad had in his life, pushing him to always do better, be better, and plus his dad was pretty talented himself, very athletic, and so that transferred over to him, and it resulted in him being the only player in school history to be able to say that they accomplished 1,000 yards receiving and not even be a senior to do it. And only 5 people were able to do that in that program, so that's really big there. And he set the Western Illinois record with 75 receptions in the season, and the team leading 1,030 yards and 7 touchdowns. And so in 2 seasons there, he already ranked ninth all time with 1,519 yards and four 100-yard games. And yes, seventh in receptions. I'm sorry, yeah, fourth in 100-yard games as he had six, and seventh in receptions, and tied for sixth in touchdowns. All of this just as a sophomore. And so as a junior, second team All MVFC receiver, an honorable mention for All FC return specialist. And so, and just to clarify, I don't believe that he's actually gotten the chance to run back any kicks in the NFL game thus far to date. So we'll see if that's something that perhaps the Bills may have an interest in taking a look at. We'll see. But yeah, the College Football Performance Awards All-Purpose Performer Watch List broke the Western Illinois career records for receiving yards with 2,703, and then 197 receptions, 100 and most 100-yard games with 10, and tied for touchdowns with 21, and ranked fifth all-time in all-purpose yards with 3,629, setting the Western Illinois season records for receptions and yards in the season with 83 receptions for 1,184 receiving yards, and the FCS National Special Teams and MVFC Special Teams Player of the Week. And so, yeah, he definitely had a tremendous career there, setting Western Illinois' single game record with 52.5 average on kickoff returns. So, yeah, he definitely was a beast, not just receiving, but also in special teams. So he was just electric. And so to get someone like that, bring him in, he has a little bit of experience, but mostly due to special teams. And special teams may be how he would have to end up making this roster. Because this roster, if we take a good look at the Buffalo Bills roster, we all know it's Stephon Diggs, what he represents, as well as Cole Beasley as well. Cole Beasley is that reliable hands that they have. And then you add in Gabriel Davis to the likes of that, and then guys like Duke Williams, Isaiah Hodgins, Emmanuel Sanders, brought in from the Saints last year. So Emmanuel Sanders, that's definitely someone right there. And then guys, like, I mean, they've got a lot of receivers, honestly. Tanner Gentry, Jake Kumaro, Isaiah McKenzie, Brandon Powell. So, yeah, they certainly got a lot of receivers here. Marquise Stevenson. So he's going to have a lot of competition to compete with, that is for sure. And special teams is really going to be big for him, and that's going to give him that boost there. So he's just going to have to go out there and show that electricity that we saw at Western Illinois. And if that's able to transfer, he may end up finding himself at a roster spot. So we'll see how that pans out for Lance moving forward. But certainly a good situation if you're the Buffalo Bills. You like this signing. Obviously, during camp, there's going to be a lot of guys brought on, and they're going to trim down the roster. So you'll see a good amount of players get cut. But, I mean, you always want to make sure that you have, options. You never know when injuries happen, and you need to have that depth. So certainly understand bringing Lance in, and this is definitely an intriguing player to watch. But with that being said, thank you so much for joining me for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. And as always, as more news continues to drop, you can be sure to find it here. So thanks again for watching, and see you guys next time.